Hey, how are you? Hello again. Uh, you know, uh, have you ever thought about thought? The way we think, what we're doing. I think as we get older, we pretty well maybe latch on to I believe it's a fact that many of us are programmed how to think because it goes with the dynamics of our society. And to back up my not theory but my belief is the fact that if you look at various societies, you'll see acceptance, things that will be accepted by that society in lieu of other societies. Cannibalism, cutting out of the human heart and holding it up before the sun god can make sure that your crops are good and there's plenty of rain, and to make sure that the gods don't eat the sun. And then we bounce around to where pedophilia, being a pedophile, is acceptable. And we bounce around to where homosexuality by what we consider the ancient classic people, as of the Greeks, guys like Aristotle and Archimedes and things like Aristotle, because they actually taught this to, what is it, Alexander the Great. We're talking about a pathological, basically killer and a murderer who was out to conquer the world. And of course, we call him the Great. He called himself the Great. And I believe he was after Ramesses II who did the same thing, right? You see, thought is something that came to me as over the years as being something that is taught to us in a linear fashion, which means it's in a line, like making a videotape, or it's taught to us in an abstract fashion. We call it thinking out of the box. And naturally, the creative individuals in society, be it politics, be it art, be it food, be it any dynamic in our lives, be it flying, driving, invention, is usually done not always abstractly and out of the box, but sometimes because necessity is the mother of invention. There are times where a guy discovers he needs to have something to do something, and out of necessity, he develops a way to do it by the occurrences and the things around him. Politics and religion are great players in this for us as a species. Politics and and religion work hand in hand to give that one group of people at the top of the pyramid the ability to control all of the other ones that are relying on them or enslaved to them to follow policy in order to survive. And those in charge can either make life comfortable for those that are below them, or they can make it tediously terrible and horrible. To quote Caligula, they don't have to like me, but they do fear me. Or if they fear me, I'm okay. It's not exactly a direct quote, but you get the idea. And that was his thought. He didn't care whether the people of Rome liked him or not. He wanted them afraid of him because he was a god. And Nero was a really nice guy to follow along in the same thing. They were all a bunch of, most of them, pretty unhinged individuals, and we had them as leaders in the ancient world. And those are the ones that weren't unhinged, were always working on building their egos and fulfilling their egos to have more of what they had was actually enough. Look what the Persians did. As a good example. We see that TV story, The 300, which was a remake of many times, and the story's been told for years, like the story of Troy and the Iliad and the Odyssey. But every time we see it, there's always that message about the fact that we can't go too far in life. We can blow the budget, as you might say. Too much can be damaging. Why am I talking about all of this? Well, here we are, we're coming into the holidays, and, we're going to have something called Halloween. Yeah. We're going to have guys like this that are going to be in our life for a temporary little while. And, I was born, I was born on October 30th, the day before Halloween happened. When I was a kid, I was growing up, and I used to love my birthday would be cool. Because when I was a kid, I had a birthday, and then the next day I got to go out dressed up and go play and trick or treat and have fun. Those were kind of fun years in my life. I thought that was great. I pitied the kids that had their birthdays that were born on Christmas, and they'd say, hey, these are your Christmas presents, and here's your birthday present. Yeah, that's kind of like, I really felt sorry for those kids. And I knew one kid that had been born on a leap year. He still got a present every year, but, they actually told him, hey, actually, you're like 12. Yeah, as a 12 or 4. I mean, he's 4, like, hey, you're 4 years old, or whatever. And, it's like, yeah, I think when he got his driver's license at 4 years of age or whatever, I can't recall. You see, it's a linear thing. It's like a socially accepted calendar that we have that was actually been revived and changed over many millennia. Back in the days of King David, the calendar was different. Back in the days of, and then somebody changed the calendar, and of course when the Christianity moved in, and all of a sudden, but you got to remember when, the month August denotes from who? One of the Caesars. And, all of our celebrations, some of them are throwovers from Celtic and things like that, the Christmas tree, things like that. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is the fact that we're living in a world of a lot of programming that dates back thousands of years. Some of it socially from where we are in our country's base and its basic politics. I, again, am of the belief that any country will work if the government is good enough to where it allows the people an ability to have some kind of participation in their government. But remember, we have always been that in any millennia, that the extremely powerful, the guys with the guns and the spears and the knives, and the guys with the poison and the big houses and the Victorian guards and all that, they are the ones that are always the one that if they can't take it, through money, they will take it through force. And okay, listen, I'm not a pragmatist about the way we are, but I am a realist in the aspect that I can't change my world individually. There are some changes I can make. Again, I've said this before, in my sphere of the influence of my life. And I don't want to deal with anything that to me is a fairy tale. I don't want to deal with propaganda. I don't want to deal with this. I want to be able to locate it, discern if it is propaganda or fairy tales or bad politics. And I want to be able to work with it, against it, around it, to where I'm not a slave to it. And that even goes to individual realities when it comes to our relationships with our lovers, our spouses, our in-laws, our children, is that everybody has something always in mind. This is where we have to determine where we are as an individual. I really am a firm believer that I need to identify my individuality as a person before I can make any changes in my predominant life the way it is. I've talked many times about being in places like hospitals where over a 5-year period and longer I have been subjected to many things that I had very, very scary moments, and then I had relief moments. But you see, there's life outside of that one environment. My life is here where I'm talking to you right now. Right now it's in the evening time in Thailand where I am, and it's the 29th. Tomorrow will be the 30th, and then again the day after will be my birthday. And I won't be out trick-or-treating, but I will have some fond memories about that time in my life that I really did enjoy. Look, the only thing that I say is that whatever we're reading in Facebook, in the media and in the news, keep in mind that unless it's down the street from you, unless somebody said they've launched all their nuclear weapons and they're coming after us, and all the airplanes, like in, what's that movie where all the, Russians attack the U.S. and the Cubans are falling out of the sky? Well, until that happens, we're doing reasonably well. Our biggest fears are natural disasters, diseases, toxicity things, and social unbalance where people are killing each other in malls and in schools. And you have to remember that we have to concern ourselves with being who we are as individuals and people to where we can deal with this. And if we become unfortunate enough to experience one of these things, we have to have the tools to get over and to recover and to continue on, to continue with what is good. Hey, I don't have the answers, but I do believe in being positive. I believe that everybody is good. They have a goodness in them. Those that usually aren't, you know something? The ones that are not of a good spirit, I believe in the karma sense, they will actually eliminate themselves from the equation. My fear is how many of us good guys they take with us on the way out the door when they leave. Example, Adolf Hitler. We'll just use him as an example. When he went out the door, he took millions with him. We don't want that kind of thing to happen again. We don't want this to happen in the Middle East. And we want to make sure that we are trying to shield ourselves and be prepared for that. I'm looking at the clock. Unfortunately, I try to keep it between, but how many, I never, like I said, I never hear, because I don't know if anybody's even watching these when I put them out. I put them up, but it makes me wonder if anybody's thinking as I think, and they're going, we should just shut the heck up, but you know something? In a way, I'm doing this because I want to express that I'm not trying to change anything. I'm trying to adapt to it and make it better for myself. And I think people are working too hard on wanting things to change for them. How about they try to change and adapt to what's happening to them and work with it, adapt and overcome. That way you survive. That is evolution, not only in body, but in mind. We have to evolve as the situation happens around us. That's how we survive as a species and as an individual. Hey, have a happy Halloween. And thank you for your time. I like talking to you.